Letitia James. So is she gonna go? What is going to be investigated next year about Trump? What is everything in New York is going to be investigated? All of their finances, all of their deals. Basically everybody who has ever worked with Trump. Okay. Yeah, because and it's funny. I saw somebody in one of the news shows. Okay, that said that Trump, I forgot who it was. It was one of those former prosecutors that said something like, he said something like, I think it was a he, that there's for the next 20 years, Trump's businesses are going to be picked apart. So, everything, they're going to go through everything. And I got a sense, guys, that also they're going to have to change the laws. I think it's going to screw up the New York real estate mafia, whatever it is. Whatever laws they benefited from, they're going to be taken apart, which is good, right? So it's like there was like this niche of them, and everything is going to be hyper scrutinized, I think. So, sorry. So that's it, guys. Okay. So what is the other? Guys, it's going to be the crime syndicate, okay? Crime syndicate. Because, in this case, it actually is a crime syndicate. But, okay, how come? Okay, this is what I don't know. Okay, so I know that he's part of this big crime syndicate. How come it was never prosecuted? Okay, I know this before. I've asked reading on this before. I think it was the blackmail, but why not? Okay. No, I think it's here that the thing about Trump is that he was a figurehead. Okay, he was not considered. This is interesting. He was not considered to be one of the bigger people because, in comparison, in a way, he was an enabler. He was not the person who brought the money wasn't his, right? So he was just a one stop in the whole thing. No, and guys, yeah, the thing about Cohen, you remember there was one video I never made public. It was about that photograph of the people that Cohen was with. These are all mafia, okay? Hi, Wendy. Okay. Yeah, they just felt like it was not necessarily the biggest deal, and they had some power. And the thing about Trump, guys, obviously, if he was paying off these women, is not a problem, okay, until he got to the government. And this may have been the biggest downfall, okay, that some of the things that he was doing were somewhat legal, and some of it was obviously the money laundering is a problem, but the money wasn't his. He was one of the stops. But then when he becomes president, that's when everything, the behavior that he brought in is criminal, because even though this might have been somewhat, some of it was acceptable in the private business, right? It's like if you were a man who wanted to pay off women, it's nobody's business, right? It's like whatever, you have your company, you pay off whatever. It's not a huge deal. But when you are president and then you take the money from people that are supposed to pay, the whole thing, guys, all these different things. So it's just really, it's like that. It's very complicated. And I think, I'm getting here. People talk about Bloomberg and everything. I also got just now the sense that what Trump is doing, some other people might have been doing in terms of money laundering, like I said, and that when they will look into money laundering, they tend to go to the person who has the money, whose money is it, right? And because Trump, the money was not his, right? So interesting about Bloomberg. So interesting. So yeah, but I think, guys, it's going to be over. Okay, just as, for example, once they started taking the mafia down, some of their rackets, it had to end. The same thing. I think there's too much scrutiny. There's gonna be some business problems, because I was looking, guys. For example, how Kushner, he never paid income tax. Can you believe that? Isn't that crazy? Because of all the loopholes they were able to kind of. Long story. So I guess it's business tax or something. So. So yeah, so this everything is going to be under, and guys, it's like I said, it's the kind of thing, the same thing about the mafia. It's like, for example, like I think it's just going to be exactly the same. How it after they were able to take down the big mob bosses, there still there still are these people, okay, and then what happened is really like the mafia became very weakened, very weak, and then that's what happened. So I think if they're gonna go after Trump, everybody connected to Trump's gonna go down. Otherwise, right? It's just a matter of time, and they have a Trump #2 later. So that's that, guys. Okay, so yeah, you guys are talking about how the white collar crime is not, they focus on, I guess, other things. But it's just now they're gonna have to, because guys, this is in a good way. This is the way that we're gonna have to look into all of the Citizens United, okay? Because that's the thing. It really is. It really is about them finding ways to to corrupt the system through money laundering and everything. And unless we open up they're going to start to look into this is what is the blessing of this, is that they're going to have to look into this whole system of LLCs, the system of how they hide the money and all of that. Because if we don't have that, guys, like I said, what's the use, right? It's kind of like it's like, for example, maybe it's a bad example, but AIDS is a virus, right? That on its own does not cause people usually would die of AIDS because of it would weaken your immune system, and all these diseases would come. Diseases that decades nobody had seen before. Whatever. This is when AIDS broke. So unless if you treat the pneumonia, it's not gonna it's gonna come back, because the underlying thing is the weakening of the immune system. So or Kaposi sarcoma and all these horrible things that happened, that they came as a result. So it's really the cause is really the no immune system, and not the disease that came after. So the same thing, Trump is like a disease, but the underlying thing is the system that enables the disease to happen, okay? And that's that, you know what I mean? I think it's really like and I think, GR is saying some interesting things, but I think, guys, like I said, it's good to be specific, come from the specific, meaning looking into Trump and how the LLCs came, and then we go to the dark money into politics, Citizens United, to undo all of these things, okay? And then, because it's, I worry, this discourse of like, oh, it's anti-corporate, whatever, corporate this, corporate that, is true. However, it's really, it's important that we get into specifics, because sometimes I feel I've noticed, people who are like very quote unquote radical, a lot of times it's like, oh, corporate money and it is true, corporate money in politics, but it has to be about specifics. We have to amass the donors. Who are these people putting? It's not just because maybe, who knows, it's okay if money, corporate. The problem is these people that buy these like there's like weird think tanks and all these things. We don't know what they are about, and they pretend to be, what is it called? I just find, for example, one of the things that I think is most harmful is as I love Corp Brothers, my favorite. Yeah, I write songs for them. I love them, whatever. I hate them all because of this, climate change. They really try to do everything they can to harm the environment. And it's really, But they do it not by saying like this. It's not like they go out and say, look, I really don't like laws because my business gets hurt. Because if I have regulations, then I can make more money. But this is what I would want from them. Like, just be honest, okay? You don't want to do okay. But no, they're like, let's challenge science. Do you know that it's not true? How do you know? How do you know what climate science is right? Huh? Do you know that? Do you know that? So these people are even more harmful than the classic, like, oh, corporate money, corporate money. These people are not even corporate, right? It's like their personal money, their personal views. And so, you know what I mean? So it's very the degree. So we have to really go to this. So, you know what I mean? So, okay, guys, totally changed the last. I keep saying last question, but I have additions. I go different questions. So the question I